Hello, everybody. I hope you guys had a good holiday. Mine wasn't too bad. It was actually pretty good. I was actually pretty satisfied. And today, I wanted to talk about things about the upcoming year of 2026. And I want to talk about 10 things that you should not do in 2026. Now, life can be such a big pain in the ass, but these tips should be able to help you to make sure your life gets a little bit easier because I know this helped me a lot. But anyways, the first tip I want to give out to y'all is do not assume anything. This is a big common mistake that a lot of us make in our lives, and man, assuming anything or just every little thing is actually a really bad situation and a really bad thing to do. Because I remember when I was a kid, right, like when I was like 16 years old, I remember I had a friend that actually was accused of doing something pretty terrible and pretty nasty. Right at the time, it was some petty, dumb, stupid drama, but I remember it was about like my friend doing like a bunch of like fucked up things like drugs and also hanging out with the wrong crowd by actually vandalizing property and stuff like that. And it was really tough to like witness this story, but my dumb ass actually believed the story and took that person's side whatsoever, right, like instantly. It was a bad thing I did when I was younger, obviously, because I remember I actually lost my friend over this situation because it was so bad where I assumed something so stupid and small from a stranger that was not even my friend. And even though, like, it was really bad drama and all this crazy fucking gossip, that I really did mess myself up with that lesson because I remember trying to make things right with my buddy and it just never was the same. Now, obviously, like I said, this was in high school and shit like that, but, it really does go to affect you for the rest of your life if you let it. And assuming things in general is just, like, horrible because, like, it gives you a very stubborn way of looking at things. It gives you tunnel vision, and it just makes you, make really dumb decisions sometimes. So if you guys can in 2026, do not assume anything. Obviously, it's been a long time since this incident happened, but man, there's so many people that still do this bullshit a lot, and it's really difficult for people to understand and grasp. The one thing I should have done back in high school is I should have went up to him and have him explain his side of the story, have him explain everything that went down and whatnot and see what's consistent, what's not. Even though he was my buddy, I probably would have listened to him if I did, but honestly, bad judge of character, and I really fucked up, dude. I was a bad friend for that. Every choice we make in our lives will have consequences whenever we like it or not. Now, this next tip is actually really silly, but it's honestly very true because this happens a lot, is always pay your bills on time, because if you don't, bro, you're going to be homeless. Now, obviously, this happens more like often than you think with people, where some people will get into a cushion where they'll be able to miss a payment to get some leniency from like these companies and corporations that are able to keep their stuff on, right? Unfortunately, some people will be able to pay, be able to pay their light bills and stuff a little later because some people get comfortable of letting that shit pile up and it becomes a bad habit. And that's how people get into bad situations where they're not paying their bills on time, or they'll pay it right when they threaten to shut everything off. Now, when I was younger, I did do this at the very beginning, but I quickly fixed that because it's really stupid, like you just don't know what could really happen. Like one day you could actually get your light shut off, or you could actually lose everything. Like I said, it's basic common sense, but bro, like, it happens if you're a little late on a bill, but do not make it a fucking habit, dude. Always prioritize your shit because there's so many adults and so many people in this world that are not been taught this crap, or they just don't simply care. And unfortunately, in a perfect world, it would be fine, but unfortunately, it's not the way that is at all with a lot of people.
Lately, I've been making my own oat milk lattes. Makes me feel kind of fun.
And for some reason, some people think that racking the utility bill up until they have to really pay is saving money, but in reality, you're actually spending more because, it's not being on auto pay or something. You gotta be careful, bro, or else, the utility guy is gonna knock on your door and demand you to pay up, or he's gonna shut your shit off. It's really sad, but it does happen. It's happened to me that one time, man, and I paid it immediately, and I was like, yep, never again. For life lesson number 3, or tip number 3, is if you have something to your friend or partner that's bothering you, just tell them. Yes, it can happen where a lot of us are having that one urge to like keep our mouth shut about this one friend or this one partner partner that's doing something wrong. But if you keep like biting your tongue on certain things and not being able to tell them directly, it's actually going to resent your partner or friend more. And honestly, this happens so often with so many people. I even have a friend that was like this for a while until I taught him and showed that it's okay to tell me harsh things if you need to, because some people may not be able to take it, and it's kind of an immature environment that a lot of society has built up. But at the same time, bro, if you just be direct in a non-toxic way and just politely criticize what can that's bothering you or what could be better with them as your friend or how they're treating you, that's not really a sign of disrespect. It's just being able to set boundaries in a healthy manner, because we all are human beings and we all need boundaries sometimes, and it can be a big pain in the ass if we don't express these things. It's one of the most unhealthy things you can do in general with your friends, partner, or just in general with yourself, because one day you're just going to explode and blow up, and you're just not going to be very happy with your partner, and then they're just not going to be happy with you, and it's going to escalate and get really nasty. And you don't want any of that if you really do value those type of friends in your life, because if you don't, man, it's just going to fuck your world up pretty bad. Now, assuming if you have really good friends, most of them would understand and just try to be better, but sometimes it can do you a favor sometimes too, where if your friend's actually a toxic piece of crap, then it may be the best to kind of let them go and go separate ways. But hopefully it doesn't get to that route. But there's some people that do have to take that leap and risk in order to see what type of person they truly are. It's a sad reality, but the good thing is though, it really does go to show how good your friends will be if you have some really good friends in your life. Now, this one is also not taken as seriously, but bro, I swear, if you choose your circle carefully of what type of friends and stuff you have in your life, it really does spiral into what type of habits you could have too with these buddies. Now, there's some friends that actually will be able to build you up and give you some growth and a good mindset, and then there's just some people that's just straight up going to tear your ass down and make you do less to do what you want to do. Because sometimes, bro, there's some friends in our lives that will influence us to do either really good things or some of the worst things you can imagine. There's some friends I had back in childhood that one time influenced me to steal something from the dollar store. Now, at the time, it was a pretty big deal to me, but at the time, it's really small now. But still, it's if I kept hanging out with this type of friends or the wrong crowd and shit, that I would probably would have stolen a lot more things and got myself in a lot more trouble. Because I do remember I did actually do that and stole something from the dollar store as a kid, and I actually did get in trouble and banned from the store for at least a month and a half. And I learned my lesson that day, and I honestly stopped hanging out with those people because I realized that there are some good people in this world. And just because they are your quote-unquote friend does not mean they always have the best intentions sometimes. But the good thing is, though, once you pick that good, circle of people, it's best to try to keep it as small as you can, man, because sometimes introducing yourself to new people can give you new opportunities, but at the same time, if you don't choose it properly or carefully, it will backfire. So it just really depends. But if you have a great judge of character, or you can develop a sense of good judgment of character, you will learn that the world's not so bad if you can just find it. It's definitely more rare to find some really good, genuine people, but bro, it's out there. You just gotta find it. When it comes to a lot of my friends, I prefer to have friends that are very clean. They don't like to smoke a lot of tree and stuff like that, that they're sober. And, alcohol here and there is fine. Having them drink all the time is kind of a big red flag to me if it's out of control and they can't, handle their problems very well and they're alcoholics. But for the most part, most of my friends do that pretty well. Everything on a casual level is fine as long as it doesn't affect their lifestyle or everyday lives. But when it comes to people trying to influence you to do these bad things, or just getting out of control and just being disrespectful and then getting all hostile and then trying to hold you back in life with their lifestyle and habits just because you're their friend, yeah, that's where it's a huge fucking issue, and that's where things kind of take for the worst. Because the crazy part is I have done drugs before in my life, and thankfully I've never gotten hooked on any of it, because oh my god, bro, I couldn't imagine getting hooked on any of these things. I guess I don't have that type of addictive personality, but at the same time, I just never picked these things up ever again because it just did not make me feel very good. Another thing that you should always do, but you should really take advantage of this in 2026, is pick your battles very wisely. When it comes to arguments or battles or anything that we have in our lives, man, sometimes, bro, that person is just simply not worth it. And there's a lot of us that will tend to escalate a lot of things unnecessarily, and sometimes it could either really backfire, or sometimes it could really hurt us and have us regret a lot of things. Now, I'm not saying that you should never escalate anything, but bro, just make sure that when you are escalating something or defending yourself or standing standing up for yourself in something, just know that make sure it's worth standing up for. Because there's some things in our lives where if you stand up for something so small and stupid and blown out of proportion, like it may not be even worth it.
Right there,
Like the
Chad.
biggest example of this is like I have some people in my life that just simply do not like me, right? Like there's some people that are absolute haters in my life. For some odd reason, they just don't simply like me. Now you could escalate it and be like, bro, why don't you like me? Blah 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 blah. I could beat your ass. Blah 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 blah. But you know what type of good shit does that even do? Like you have people that you may not even know very well, like live in your head rent free, and you should not like stoop down to their fucking level, because I've learned that too, where I had bullies in my past not like me for whatever reason. And another thing too is with real life is I had a coworker literally just not like me at all, and then my coworker meets a friend of mine that he happened to work with, and this person's like literally say how much he did not like me and then all this crap. And I actually got to a point where it's been so long since I even worked with this dude, because it was like an interaction, like a one-time thing, that I didn't even know who he was until he told me like where we worked at and shit. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, because I didn't like this person either, but I didn't simply just kept my distance and moved on. But holy fuck, the fact that some people are willing to go down to that type of level to, you know, be living in your head rent free is fucking crazy, dude. And you know, I'm a pretty easygoing, pretty respectful individual. I don't really tend to have beef with people because I find that shit a waste of time. But man, like some people will find a reason why to have beef with you and be miserable within themselves. And it sucks. I was such a big people pleaser back in the day that I wanted even people that did not like me to like me, because I just didn't understand why they were hating on me. And then as you get older, like I said, you realize it was never me, it was simply them. And once you kind of learn that life lesson, you kind of realize that, yeah, this shit is just a waste of time. And, you know, you can just move on with your life into better things, because, you know, escalating stupid things like that with like coworkers or small beef with people that are toxic and hostile, just simply just, you know, a waste of time. Now, this next one, it sounds very cliche, but it is one of the most truest things ever, and it's do not procrastinate on your dreams. Now, there's a lot of people that will say they want to become one thing and they become a dreamer and not a doer. And it's fine if you have dreams or you just don't really take it that seriously, but bro, I swear, if you do have something that you can realistically achieve, man, go for that shit, because if you don't, it could actually fuck you up too for your life, or you'll have a lot of regret, because man, living in your comfort zone, not being able to do the hard things to being able to get to your dreams, it's definitely, you know, one of the hardest things to go through, but it's honestly one of the best things ever, and it's worth it, because it's a growth stage in your life, and it helps you build better character for yourself, and you realize what you really want out of your life, because there's some people who live on fucking, you know, autopilot their whole lives, and then they wonder, what if I did this and did that? Don't always regret your mistakes in your past, but dude, do not ever procrastinate on any of your fucking goals or dreams, because I used to have a friend like that, where this person would procrastinate on their goals and dreams to the point where they're already almost 25, and they're still just saying shit like, yeah, I want to start that YouTube channel, I'll get around to it, and it's been like 5 years almost, and I'm like, hell no, because I realize now, as I was making content for such a long time consistently, is it took me almost fucking like 10 to 7 years around there to kind of get some type of attention on YouTube, just to even know how it works, because you realize that there's a lot of things you don't know that does not work until you try it. And it's honestly a good thing too, because then you know exactly what you want to do out of your dreams or goals. People really do underestimate the amount of time a certain skill takes for you to be able to create something or get to a certain point in something. Like, you know, some skills or passions take like almost like over thousands and thousands of hours for certain things, like learning how to edit videos properly, how to play an instrument, or how to even fucking, you know, make good quality like commentary and shit, or how to talk to people socially, for fuck's sake. It's honestly a interesting thing how much we invest our time in. If I never did like do anything like that, I have no idea where I would be today. So honestly, definitely take this one like very seriously. Now, this is a skill that a lot of people really sleep on, but it's actually very deadly and very valuable in your life if you really need it, and it's helping yourself as much as possible. This one is one of the most important things to learn, because bro, there's things in our lives where we can't always have other people help us, and that's fine. It's okay to ask for help, but it's also good to learn and educate educate ourselves on new things to help ourselves as much as possible in case we get into a really bad situation. Like the best examples I could think about this is like, learning how to like find work outside of a job where you can find gigs or something to be able to work in order to get, be able to get yourself off your feet to get extra money really quickly, or finding other ways to like, educate yourself about certain things about the world without having a school or someone teach you, like going to the libraries and reading about books and shit. This is something I definitely would need to work on myself more, but man, I realized when I was reading certain things, like certain articles or books, is wow, this is actually very good for your brain for one, and two, it's like very awesome to actually, educate yourself on certain things without having anyone try to rely on you. It's pretty fucking dope, honestly, and everyone learns in different ways, so definitely take advantage of all the opportunities in your life too that is also given to you if you have it. Like, I remember I was having issues with like money in a bank as well too, and the best thing I did for myself was I got up, actually requested a new like bank account and everything at a different bank, and I actually transferred my shit over there too. And the worst part is, a lot of people is, it may seem small, but there's some people that will complain about like, oh man, my bank account's very bad because this bank treats me like shit, and then they just do nothing about it, and it gets really annoying very quickly. But what I did, I went ahead and tried to fix the problem as much as possible, and it ended up being fixed, which is amazing. Or, there's some people that will bitch about their stuff in their apartment breaking down and then not getting it fixed or not doing something about it. Or the best example is, when my apartment was actually messing up so bad, I went ahead, into that lease early, and I was able to document everything to be able to get to my next place. Because if I never did that shit, dude, and just complained, I would have been stuck in that shitty ass apartment still. So yes, guys, if you really can, help yourself as much as you can, because you'll realize how great and powerful that skill is when you really need to do it, because it's really fucking awesome. Now, technically, I did complain to my apartment landlords and shit, but I meant like complaining to like just the roommates and not taking action, that's what I mean. But yeah, it's crazy how like what type of voices can be heard if you just call like housing authority and shit like that. Thank God that's over. Now, this lesson is a tough one that I did learn this year, and I will not be definitely doing this next year, and it's do not buy things out of desperation. Now, obviously, I've told you guys about this situation a lot, but bro, when I impulse bought that stupid fucking lemon car I had just to try to get a different car because my other car broke down because I was stacking a lot of money, it ended up hurting me in the long run because financially I did not fully recover from that situation. Now my financial situation's a bit better, but dude, it set me back for at least like 6 to 7 months. And it was a hard lesson learned. It was my fault, and man, it was like one of the hardest lessons I learned in my fucking 20s as well too, because I never had anything like that happen to me where I had like a lemon backfire on me like that, because usually most of the cars I do buy are pretty good, but bro, sometimes when you're really desperate for something, you have a bad judge of character sometimes, or a bad judge of things. And the crazy part is, I did have someone that was with me, to help me look at the car, but this person didn't know very much about cars, or did not tell me things directly about how they truly felt. They're just like, you're an adult, you can do what you want, blah 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 blah. But I'm just like, bro, like, no, tell me exactly straight up if I should be doing this or not, because I may not know everything, but fuck, dude, cars can be very tricky. And unfortunately, this car I bought, started fucking up after a week, and that's hard to tell because you never know until like you had a car for a while. And some people know what they're selling, but just won't tell you. And the worst part about that situation too was I kept trying to repair it at the repair shops constantly, and obviously it ate all my money too, and that was stupid as hell. But I ended up getting a different car, and this kind of leads to this lesson is, yes, do not buy things out of desperation in general too, because like I know some people that will buy some things out of desperation for things that are not even that important, and they end up getting backfired too, or they'll fucking get a huge ass credit card just to buy something crazy with it or whatever, with wants or rent or whatever it is they need, and they get into a hole. Do not ever put yourself in a hole if you don't really need to. I'm very happy that nightmare is over, and I'm very grateful to start fresh. Now, this is also a very common mistake that a lot of people do in their lives, whatever it's friends, family, or whatever, but this one is, do not rush your lifetime achievements. I'm not sure why, but there's a lot of people in my life I've dealt with or seen where like there's so many people that feel like they have this crazy rush to like get married or have kids very quickly, or even, be able to travel and stuff and be able to like try to rush to financial wealth and success. And I'm just like, bro, take your time. I get it. Some people are, want that shit out of the way, but man, like, I think it's best to do everything naturally. Now, don't ever take your life for granted and take actions with things when you need to, but man, I noticed that there's a lot of things that you could have happen to you if you just let things happen naturally by going out and just doing shit naturally for people. Like, if you're a social butterfly, you will eventually find somebody that will, like, be able to date you and love you forever and shit. Obviously, it may not be forever for a lot of people. That's fine. That's realistic. But man, like, there's a lot of people that try to also just rush, like, status for some reason. There's a lot of people that want status quickly and now. And the worst type of things that could happen to you with that type of shit is comparing yourself to others when it comes to, like, keeping up with the Joneses' wants or needs, or, looking at other YouTubers and social influencers, seeing shit like, oh, why am I not rich at this age like this YouTuber? Like, I am around the age of Mr. Beast, right? And, sometimes I have this crazy expectation being like, bro, why the fuck has my YouTube never gotten to this type of level yet as Mr. Beast? But obviously...
The Insane AI video generator you must know. Step 1. Generate script. Step 2. Copy.
He's really young, and I'm still really young, and it's just really unrealistic, Like, not everyone's going to be like a rich millionaire by the time they're 25 and shit like that. It's very different for everybody, and we have to learn to accept that. You know that saying, you just cannot simply rush perfection, so do not let perfection ruin your life or compare yourself to some crazy, unrealistic bullshit. Not everyone's going to be a celebrity right out the gate. And the last but not least on this very long video is learn to appreciate yourself. Confidence is such a big factor in your life, and it's very important to have, because there's a lot of people who just simply never had confidence in their life, and it goes to show when it comes to their performance and certain things that they want to do, or performance anxiety for, like job interviews, or performance anxiety in just what they're doing at their job and work, and overthinking everything. I used to be very guilty of overthinking a lot of shit, but once you kind of realize you can let a lot of that crap go, because most people just don't simply care or realize what you're thinking about bothers you, it gets a lot easier and better. And it's actually very powerful too, because it's like, wow, I feel like I could do anything. But obviously, be realistic with it, because not everyone's going to be like Spider-Man or Superman, being able to fucking fly around and shit all around New York City, because that shit's stupid. But, always have that confidence though, like with your job interviews, or just confidence within yourself as a person. Like, know that you can do things right, and know that things will get better, and that you can get your part done of whatever you want to do or achieve. Loving yourself is also a huge thing too, because like it could actually build you up as a person, give you a nice growth mindset, and you just feel happier and better in general, because there's a lot of people in this world that fucking struggle with this, and it's okay, dude, and we all need to realize that no matter what corporation, company it is and whatnot, there's always people internally fighting something within themselves that's reflecting their character or themselves. And sometimes, guys, if you guys really do have that shitty ass boss that's trying to tear people down, it really says a lot about them and their character, and then not you, because you never know what they're going through, but at the same time, bro, they may not be giving themselves that type of love and treatment that they probably should in order to better their life. So honestly, who cares what they think? Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a very good 2026 year coming up, and I really do hope these life advice tips are helping a lot, or will help you in the foreseeable future, because some of it may be cliche, but there's a lot of it that is very important that needs to be said more often. I honestly want a lot of people to win in life and be able to find themselves and be confident and happy, because there's a lot of people in very good situations that are just simply unhappy. So I hope this helps for anyone that really needs this type of motivation or confidence, or just something to really listen to that's really important, because you never know what type of voices could be reached out to. This is the first time on this channel I actually wrote down a script and did something a little bit different with like ideas, and I hope it pays off, and I really guys hope that you guys enjoyed it. And to everybody, I hope you guys have a good new year, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out, and y'all have a good one.